It's really no longer enough to just make a sale, and you've probably figured that out already. Whatever you're selling, whether you're selling something online, whether you're selling something in person, whether you're selling something digital, physical, whether you're selling advice or consulting, making the sale is not necessarily going to be enough anymore, to assure that not only are you going to have good customer relationships, but also you're going to have a substantial business. And the other thing about this is that whether it's me as your customer or, whoever your customer is, our attention span is getting bombarded every day, every minute of every day, right? So even if you made the sale, even if I bought what you have, as soon as I buy it, somebody else is contacting me. Somebody else is hitting me up. In some cases, the people that are hitting me up, they've talked to me before the sale. They've talked to me during the sale that you're making, and even right after the sale, right? And probably almost within the same minute. Your customer could already be on social media right after they make the purchase, and they can be targeted by somebody who is your competition, or they could be targeted by the person you're partnering with, or being targeted by the person that directed them to you in the case of affiliate relationships, right? So you're really getting hit from all sides, and your customer's getting hit from all sides. And so you've got to really be able to kind of think through, well, what can I do to make sure that even after I've made the sale, that I'm developing my relationship with that customer? And so you've got to be thinking through, how can I make sure that as long as I need that customer's attention, as long as I need to help them in order to be successful with what they have from me, as long as I need in order to make sure they know that I'm looking to make the next sale with them, that I do have their attention and I can keep their attention. And that means then that if you decide that you're going to leave that relationship open and you're going to leave it all open, you're just going to make the sale and you're going to say, okay, you know what? I made the sale. Great. I've got revenue. It's all coming in. And you're just going to kind of leave it all to chance. After that point, what you are effectively saying, even though you don't feel this way, even though you're not necessarily acting this way, what you're saying by default is that you don't care, right? You don't care what anybody else says to them. You don't care what happens to them after the sale. You don't care whether or not they have success. You don't care whether or not they get the next part of the process from somebody else. You don't care. That's what you're effectively saying. You may not want to say that, but by not saying anything and because everybody else is talking to your customer, that's what you're effectively saying. And so you might feel like, well, that's really overwhelming. I don't want to be talking all the time. I want to make sure my customer has the freedom to make their own decision. That's fine, but in today's environment, you have to remember that, again, they're being bombarded with messages, sometimes even contrary to the thing that you're telling them. So in other words, you could be telling them red is the color that you need in order to be successful. And as soon as they get to social media, somebody else is telling them blue is really what you need. And you really shouldn't have gotten red. You should have gotten green. And by the time they get to YouTube, somebody else is saying purple. So you've got to make sure that if you're going to be talking and that you're going to help your customer by helping them to buy something, you got to help them to be successful. Again, before the sale, during the sale, and then after the sale. If you don't say anything, then what you're effectively saying is you really don't care when that happens. And so this whole process, this whole thought process is called engagement, right? And the best companies, whether they are big or small right now, they are good at engagement. The best companies and the people who are making repeat sales, they are masters at following up and engaging their customers. And so you're going to have to think through what you're doing, not only to make the sale, but what you're doing to help your customers so that they can be successful with what they have from you. You're going to have to make sure you're good at getting to the customer to make sure they're going to have success. And so the people that are doing this, all these things are coming in many forms. Now, this is not a whole list, but these are some of the things that people are doing and some of the things that people are using. Some people are using email and they're good at talking to their customer on email. And you might feel like, well, I get too many emails. I wish they wouldn't talk to me by email. But a lot of people who are good at engagement, who are good at letting the customer know they care, who are good at helping the customer to be successful with what they have, who are good at getting repeat buyers, they're good at email, right? That's one thing that people are good at. Some people are good at what are called newsletters, whether they are electronic newsletters or they are good at sending newsletters in the mail and getting something into your hands. Getting something so that when you're at your house, when you are at your apartment, when you are on the go, when you are in your car, you have something physical in your hands. That is helping them associate you with the purchase that they made. Some people, some companies, some individuals are good at getting something into your hand. Now again, you don't have to be good at all these things, but you might need to be good at one of them, because all they're doing is they're not necessarily selling anything more, they are engaging their customer. So Facebook and social media. You don't have to love Facebook. You don't have to love Twitter and all these other things. You just have to be good at it. And some people are really good at Facebook and social media, keeping people involved, keeping their brain centered on their brand. You might not necessarily love it. And again, not everybody is going to be great at Facebook and social media, but some people are. And some people are good at making sure that their customer knows what it is they're doing with your product or service. Some people are good at YouTube, right? That might be your thing. Maybe you're good at getting on camera. Maybe you're good at creating screen share videos. Maybe you're good at having videos created. Maybe you're good at shooting videos. Maybe not in the video, but you're shooting them. If you're good at these things, you can be good at engaging your customers. Some people are good at direct mail, and I'm a real fan of getting good direct mail. Now again, I haven't really necessarily done this on my own business, but I will say that people who can get a piece of mail in my hands and get me used to it, I'm more likely to be engaged with that company for the long term. You know, there's something about getting something physical in other people's hands when everybody else is sending emails. And so this is just to put a bug in your ear. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy a direct mail course or to go out and buy 1,000 postcards tomorrow. What I am saying is long-term direct mail, even though a lot of people don't do it because it costs a little bit of money, it's still effective. The reason these things are so popular is because they don't require you to be there in order for the customer to be engaged, right? You create the thing once, you get it into the customer's hands, and you'd keep leveraging that same thing over and over again. So can you be good at engagement? Of course you can. You've just got to pick one, right? You might need to pick two, but you create the thing one time and get it into your customer's hands. You get it in front of their eyeballs, you get it in their ears. Now, here's the thing about these things. Here's the thing about these forms of engagement. They're easy to ignore. And that's the other thing. That's why a lot of people don't do direct mail, because it's easy to ignore. They can be relatively inexpensive. Even direct mail is relatively inexpensive when you're doing it, but they're easy for us to ignore. And so we can easily turn away from an email. We can easily just turn off our social media. Not everybody's going to be on YouTube. Sometimes you get to the point where you're saying, you know what? I don't want to fall down a YouTube hole. I'm not going to be watching anymore, right? So these things are going to be easy to ignore. And that means then that some of the messaging is going to fall on deaf ears. That means that the business owner still has to have engagement. Even though they put these things out there and the customer can ignore them, that still doesn't mean that we don't need to be engaging. And so there is another form though, right, that you can use that you don't have to be there and is not resource intensive. And that's live video, live streaming video. Let's talk about live streaming video. Live video is starting to become the standard engagement, right? So not a day goes by where we don't see someone that's not doing some kind of Facebook live video or YouTube live video or webinar of some kind, right? They're getting more popular now that they're on social media platforms, but they've always been available by a webinar. And so business owners are now using some kind of live video to keep their customers in the know about what's coming. So let's say that you don't do anything else. Let's say you're not teaching your customer how to use what they have, but all you're doing is keeping them abreast of what you've got coming. You're doing well when it comes to engagement. They're also using live video internally, right? If you want to train someone that you're outsourcing to, if you want to train people who are working for you and you want to get them all on the same page, you don't want to necessarily rely on email. You want to get them on live video. So you can explain to them face to face what you're doing. Live video is working for people in ways that it has not worked before. And now getting back to the sales piece. Business owners are now using it to help their prospects in the discovery phase. So as people are starting to figure out whether or not they want to do business with you, they're now starting to get to you in live video, hearing your voice and saying, you know what? I like this lady. You know what? I like this guy. I think I want to work with them. I like the way they say it. I like the way they sound. I think they understand me. Live video allows you to do that. And again, you don't necessarily have to be all that well spoken and be on camera. Sometimes all you have to do is show up. And when people see your face and they see, you know what? That person probably gets me. They can look in your eyes and see it. And you've probably experienced that before when you've purchased from someone. You can do these things on websites, but you can also do these things now on social media. That's what makes it great. Now, one way to do that across all of these platforms, all of them at the same time, is using a platform called StreamYard. Let's talk a little bit about StreamYard. And if you go to StreamYard.com, you're going to see StreamYard. And StreamYard is a very interesting platform. And what it does, it allows you to operate fully in the cloud. You don't have to download anything. Now, if you think about this, and this is a really cool thing, that not only does the person who's going to be on your StreamYard broadcast not need any software, but you don't need any software, right? That's the thing. The other thing is that, it's mobile compatible. So let's say that you wanted to give a StreamYard broadcast, you can do it all on mobile. That's another thing that's cool with StreamYard. It means that a person could use StreamYard and deliver multiple perspectives. And you could have, let's say, 3 or 4 people on with you at the same time. They can be from all over the world, and you can be delivering one message. You can be delivering and talking on one topic. That makes it powerful. And so what this does is it helps you to really give somebody a real experience that's live, and it's engaging somebody in a way that you cannot do it by email, that you cannot do just by doing a social media post, that you can't really even do fully by having a live event where not everybody can get to go. And so when I think of StreamYard, one of the things that I think of is having a branded experience. And I think that that's really the key to engagement, is getting people to remember your brand. And one of the things that StreamYard does extremely well is it provides people the opportunity to brand that live stream. And so what this does is it really keeps the viewers, the people who are there, reminded of the message and who's giving it. And so regardless of whether the stream is viewed as a recording or a live social media event, the correct message is always going to be conveyed, right? And that's a really cool thing. And this real repetition of the brand and the messaging, it really helps. If you're trying to, let's say you're trying to overcome people who are just always super popular and they're really gregarious, and they've got this great bubbling over personality, and all you can really do is be consistent. StreamYard helps you overcome that, because again, with StreamYard and these kinds of technologies, all you have to do is be present and consistent, right? And so StreamYard does have a learning curve though, right? And you're going to see some of that in some of their technology, and you can see the interface here. And there are lots of different moving parts here. You can see there's a panel on the right side and things at the bottom. And all those things are doable. They do take a little learning to learn how to do. Once you do it, you can create a real branded experience. So again, think about, being able to use this. Think about your view of being able to see this, keeping them reminded of what it is you're saying as well as who's saying it, right? And if you can understand how to use this, it's really going to be a real benefit to you in terms of being able to do a broadcast. And so the learning curve, once you really understand the basics of how to use this platform, you're going to be able to reach your audience with your message, right? And it's going to be branded, which is really cool. If you understand those branding elements, you can always direct people to what you want them to see and hear. And the only part about all of this is that there is going to be some technical elements. And if you miss them, you can do the broadcast, but you can miss some of the real opportunities you have to get people interested in your brand. And so they're not all going to be there in a way that you can see them in the menus of the platform. But there is a step-by-step video course that will walk you through all the basics, and it'll show you how to get through all those technical elements, all those technical issues. If you want to find out more about it, I'm going to tell you more about it here on the screen here in a minute. And so when we talk about our StreamYard course, I'll show you what you're going to learn. This is our video mind map, and so this is basically how the course is arranged. It takes you inside of StreamYard and how to connect to social media, right? And to do all those things. How to connect to the video platforms so that you're streaming not only as a webinar, but you're also getting to these social platforms at the same time. We're going to show you how to work with any of the technical concerns and whether or not, you're going to be able to get into Broadcast Studio and use all of the branding elements. As well as one of the really cool things is being able to use a video during your live stream and to have it play during your live stream. And then being able to go live across all these platforms, showing videos, showing your brand and all these things. That's what our course really covers. And then, of course, we'll take you through a live example, showing you how to use all of those things. What you're going to be able to do. You're going to be able to share your computer screen, your webcams, and all on social media. And you'll be able to get that wider reach that you want, right? You'll get more opportunities to build your credibility. You'll get more chances to make sales. You will get more opportunities to build buzz and excitement around your brand. And so, are there any questions about this? Any questions about StreamYard and anything that you're going to be able to do? Okay. You can get access to the StreamYard course at impc.ws/sy. I do want to say the best way to get that course, though, is to be one of our Digital Retirement Rebels insiders. You can see why I say that by going to impc.ws/14day. And if you would like to get signed up for our email newsletter, you can do that at IamProfitsCoach.com. Okay, so hopefully this has been helpful to you. I'm glad that you were all able to come to our little training. If you have any questions, let me know. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications, and I will see you again soon. Take care.